Voter actually meets Trump face to face. On Saturday, President Donald Trump made his second visit to Texas to tour the areas devastated by Hurricane Harvey and to meet and greet the residents whose lives have been upended by the devastating storm. The president spent hours visiting with the hurricane victims. He did his best to comfort them and helped pass out meals and supplies to the victims who didn't have food or supplies. President Trump has really settled into his role as the most powerful servant in America. Advertisement: One woman from Houston had something to say about the president to a local news station in Houston. "I had a different opinion of him, and now I think that he's a wonderful man," said the woman during an interview. It's safe to assume that there are numerous people in the Democratic city of Houston who now know that the media spent all their time lying about President Trump. Now they want to show their support because they know the truth of who the president is. He has served these people even though they never supported him. That is class. Advertisement: Trump hugged children, laughed with evacuees and otherwise tried to help out as best he could. It's moments like these that show the human side of a president, a side the media has done their best to hide. As Trump won Texas handily, the places he visited were blue counties because the Democrats tend to have the voting power in the cities. Joe Boyd, an evacuee, actually got his lunch handed to him by Trump, and his wife stated that he was incredibly happy. "If he died and went to heaven today, we got to see President Trump," she said. Unlike some past administrations, Trump has made sure that he was on top of the situation from the beginning so that we wouldn't have a repeat of the disaster following Hurricane Katrina. What do you think of this story? Barack Obama breaks his silence, rips Trump for ending his illegal DACA program. Barack Obama promised he would violate years of presidential precedent and come after Trump if he dared end Obama's favorite illegal program. Yes, despite what the media will tell you, the president does not get to unilaterally decide our nation's immigration laws. Advertisement: That is why we have a Congress. But the limits of executive power our founders gave us in their infinite wisdom never stopped Obama from arrogantly acting on his worst impulses. It is a disgrace, and worse, what he said about Trump will go down in history as plain moronic. To complain about a president's decision to uphold the rule of law is just beyond the pale. Advertisement: Anyway, if you can stomach it, here is Obama's full statement. Immigration can be a controversial topic. We all want safe, secure borders and a dynamic economy, and people of goodwill can have legitimate disagreements about how to fix our immigration system so that everybody plays by the rules. But that's not what the action that the White House took today is about. This is about young people who grew up in America, kids who study in our schools, young adults who are starting careers, patriots who pledge allegiance to our flag. These dreamers are Americans in their hearts, in their minds, in every single way but one, on paper. They were brought to this country by their parents, sometimes even as infants. They may not know a country besides ours. They may not even know a language besides English. They often have no idea they're undocumented until they apply for a job, or college, or a driver's license. Over the years, politicians of both parties have worked together to write legislation that would have told these young people, our young people, that if your parents brought you here as a child, if you've been here a certain number of years, and if you're willing to go to college or serve in our military, then you'll get a chance to stay and earn your citizenship. And for years while I was president, I asked Congress to send me such a bill. That bill never came. And because it made no sense to expel talented, driven, patriotic young people from the only country they know solely because of the actions of their parents, my administration acted to lift the shadow of deportation from these young people, so that they could continue to contribute to our communities and our country. We did so based on the well-established legal principle of prosecutorial discretion, deployed by Democratic and Republican presidents alike, because our immigration enforcement agencies have limited resources, and it makes sense to focus those resources on those who come illegally to this country to do us harm. Deportations of criminals went up. Some 800,000 young people stepped forward, met rigorous requirements, and went through background checks. And America grew stronger as a result. But today, That shadow has been cast over some of our best and brightest young people once again. To target these young people is wrong, because they have done nothing wrong. It is self-defeating, because they want to start new businesses, staff our labs, serve in our military, and otherwise contribute to the country we love. And it is cruel. What if our kid's science teacher, or our friendly neighbor turns out to be a dreamer? Where are we supposed to send her? To a country she doesn't know or remember, with a language she may not even speak? Let's be clear, the action taken today isn't required legally. It's a political decision, and a moral question. Whatever concerns or complaints Americans may have about immigration in general, we shouldn't threaten the future of this group of young people who are here through no fault of their own, who pose no threat, who are not taking away anything from the rest of us. They are the pitcher on our kids' softball team, that first responder who helps out his community after a disaster, that cadet in ROTC who wants nothing more than to wear the uniform of the country that gave him a chance. Kicking them out won't lower the unemployment rate, or lighten anyone's taxes, or raise anybody's wages. It is precisely because this action is contrary to our spirit, and to common sense, that business leaders, faith leaders, economists, and Americans of all political stripes called on the administration not to do what it did today. And now that the White House has shifted its responsibility for these young people to Congress, it's up to members of Congress to protect these young people and our future. I'm heartened by those who suggested that they should. And I join my voice with the majority of Americans who hope they step up and do it with a sense of moral urgency that matches the urgency these young people feel. Ultimately, this is about basic decency. This is about whether we are a people who kick hopeful young strivers out of America, or whether we treat them the way we'd want our own kids to be treated. It's about who we are as a people, and who we want to be. What makes us American is not a question of what we look like, or where our names come from, or the way we pray. What makes us American is our fidelity to a set of ideals, that all of us are created equal, that all of us deserve the chance to make of our lives what we will, that all of us share an obligation to stand up, speak out, and secure our most cherished values for the next generation. That's how America has traveled this far. That's how, if we keep at it, we will ultimately reach that more perfect union. Watch Laura Ingraham exposes brutal truth about DACA media won't tell you. Isn't it nice when a member of the media is on the side of Americans? Thank God for radio host Laura Ingraham. The Daily Caller is reporting on comments Ingraham recently made standing up for American citizens. Advertisement. The Unconstitutional Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program or DACA has been strongly defended by the left as a milestone accomplishment of former President Obama. Instead of changing immigration law through Congress, Obama forced through DACA by executive order and gave amnesty to children of illegal aliens. Now Trump has announced the program will be terminated in 6 months. Speaking on Fox News today, Ingraham took on the liberal myths about DACA and the hope it provides for children of illegals. Americans are dreamers too, Ingraham pointed out. They have a lot of dreams that have not been fulfilled because of a variety of reasons. A lot of them have to do with politicians not doing what they said they would do. Advertisement. It was a hefty dose of reality and Ingraham didn't stop there. American citizens want a better life, they want their kids in schools that aren't overcrowded, they want health care that doesn't rise in its costs 20%, 18% a year, so that's number one, she said. Number two, I think people have to understand what DACA is really all about. It's about giving work permits and federal benefits to people who are as advanced in their age as the age of 36. Watch the clip below. The truth is still being told by a few people, isn't that nice to know? Amid all the phony liberal outrage about President Trump ending DACA, people like Ingraham are rare voices of sanity, don't you? Breaking Sheriff David Clarke lands new job helping Trump. Former Milwaukee Sheriff David Clarke joined a pro-Trump super PAC as its spokesman and advisor, according to a Tuesday announcement. Sheriff David Clarke recently resigned as the sheriff of Milwaukee County. He will now operate as a senior advisor and a spokesperson for American First Action. This super PAC is a large Trump-supporting organization. Advertisement: David Clarke is an American patriot, and we are very proud to welcome him to America First. Having spent a lifetime in law enforcement, protecting and serving his community and fighting for justice and the Second Amendment, Sheriff Clarke doesn't just believe in making America safe again, he's devoted his life to it, Brian O. Walsh, president of America First Action, said in a statement. The America First Action Super PAC has the mission to aid candidates that support the agenda of President Trump and the same politicians who promote Trump's legislative goals. Clarke isn't the first high-profile Trump supporter to join off, as Corey Lewandowski joined after he was fired from One American News Network. It gives me the chance to do what I love most, promote President Trump's agenda, including his fierce support for the American law enforcement officer, and ensure that the will of the American people who got President Trump elected is not derailed by the left or the self-serving Washington establishment, Clarke said in a press release about his new role. Advertisement: This must be the reason that Clarke had stepped down as the sheriff of Milwaukee County. Most originally thought that it was due to him taking a position that had been offered to him multiple times by the President Trump administration. This is good news for Trump because Clarke will be of far more use in a super PAC than as a sheriff in Wisconsin. What do you think of that?